Welcome to episode 237. Today I'm interviewing author Chantal Gadoury about her fantasy novel Blinding Night and learn about her upcoming release. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction podcast. Here on Book Chat, we get bookish with roundtable book discussions, book recommendation lists, interviews, and more. Be sure to check out shelfaddiction.com for even more content. Before we get started, let me tell you a bit about today's interview guest. Amazon bestselling author Chantal Godoury has published 5 titles with future books to come. Chantal first started writing stories at the age of 7 and continues with that love of writing today. For Chantal, writing novels has become a lifelong dream come true. When she's not typing away at her next project, she enjoys painting, drinking lots of DD iced coffee, and watching Disney classics. If you'd like to comment on something you've heard during today's episode, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shelf Addiction. The links for everything related to today's episode are below in the show notes. Hey Chantal, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's been a while. I'm so excited to talk to you again.
I know it's been a while for sure. I'm definitely honored to be back again. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So before we get into talking about your book, I want to know what you're reading right now.
You know what? In all honesty, I am not reading anything right now, but I did just pick up a book called Pride and Prejudice and I think and Mistletoe or something like that. I just bought it this weekend and I was like, I'm going to read a book. I've been so busy writing that I just haven't had the opportunity to enjoy reading a book.
Oh, I understand. I know you authors go into your little writing caves and that's all you do. I get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I would love to know, this is a new question that I know you haven't answered before. Is there an author on your go-to auto buy list that you just buy without even reading the synopsis? Do you have one?
I do. It is Tessa Dare right now, and she's a historical fiction romance author. I don't know why, but I've been addicted to her. I want to say it was over the winter last year that I discovered her books, and I read through them so quickly. So she has been on my, I'll just buy it. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it's about. I just want to read it because her characters are just so amazing to me. They're so gripping. They're believable. And her men are really dashing. And I'm a sucker for dashing men.
Aren't we all? Yes, that's why we read romance and fiction because, it's not like real life men. So
no, not at all.
Okay, so today we're here to talk about Blinding Night. Let's talk a little bit about what inspired the story, how you developed it.
So Blinding Night has actually been it was a long time coming kind of novel. I started writing this book when I was a junior in college, and it was called 7 Seeds of Summer. And it was inspired because I was in a novel class and my professor said to us, "You're all going to write a novel by the end of this semester." And I have always wanted to write a retelling, and at the time I thought, well, there's really not much about Hades and Persephone. I'm going to write a retelling about that, and I'm going to do it a different way. Instead of it being this historical fiction kind of thing, I wanted it to be this modern day twisting love story. So that's kind of where it began, and it's taken until now to make it into what it is.
Wow, that's awesome. So let me ask you this, because I'm a sucker for good cover art, and I was looking at the cover art and it's really pretty. Did you choose it yourself?
No, actually my publisher made it. So Shane Leeton is the publisher of Parliament House, and she's also one of my really good friends, and one night she sent me this photo and she's like, "What about this for Blinding Night?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's really pretty. Like there's a girl and there's some moths on her shoulder." And I'm like, "I just don't know what it really has to do with Blinding Night." And then she put more to it, and after I saw the finished look, I, I was sold. I didn't really care that at the time it didn't have anything to do with it. I made it work though. I made a scene where that actually happens.
Oh,
So
wow. So that's really unique so that the cover does tie into the story.
it does. It does in the end. It does.
That's cool because I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, there's butterflies and there's blood dripping down. I'm like, oh goodness. What does
Yeah.
that mean?
So this is actually, so what I know when I was looking at the cover, I was kind of like, how am I even going to utilize this in the book? There's just no real scene for it. And it turns out to be kind of like a dream sequence that happens when she's dreaming about Darce or Hades. And that's kind of how it ends up being tied into the story.
Tell us what genre this is. It's fantasy, but is it young adults or is it new adults?
It's definitely more new adult. It's a new adult. It's fantasy, paranormal romance. Um, yeah, I'd like to kind of stick to those genres, or at least like labeling this book as that. But it's definitely new adult.
Hmm. Yeah, I think she's college age, right?
She is. She is
Hmm.
college age. She just finished her first year of college, and she goes off to Greece with her family.
Okay. So tell me about the story, kind of high level. You know, you can keep it spoiler free if you like. What is Blinding Night about?
So it is about Summer Mavros, who ends up going to Greece with her mom and her dad. Her mom and dad are archaeologists studying with, I called it the National Geographic because at the time that was the only thing I could think of. And she, without spoils, she has a tragedy that happens and prevents her from being with her family. Then Darce, or you will find out that he is Hades, and that's not really a spoiler thing. Um, he kind of comes and tries to have her remember who she is and that he believes she is the reincarnation of Persephone. And it's about her journey going to the underworld and discovering what happened to Persephone, really what happened to her and all of her past lives, and also meeting all of the very interesting characters that live in the underworld with Darce.
Hmm. So you've got a lot of like things going on here. So let's start with like the reincarnation factor. Did you
Okay.
have to do some research to like figure out how to make the reincarnation kind of ring true in the book?
Well, I did a lot of reincarnation research into just how different cultures view it. Um, like I think it's kind of a broad belief in different, I don't want to say religions, but in different religions and cultures. So it was kind of easy to kind of borrow it into my world. Um, I like that was probably about as researched as I got with the reincarnation, but I did do a lot of research with her actual past lives. So for example, there is a past life where she's living like in Ireland in the like 1300s. So I did a lot of research into like clothing and what the world looked like around her. And then there was one where she's in Venice, Italy, and I did a lot of research into costumes and balls and just what it was like back then. And I watched a lot of movies too, which probably isn't the best sort of research, but I wanted to have another excuse to watch a Heath Ledger and Casanova. So it was
Hey, I
yeah,
think that's warranted. It's all good.
right. And then actually my editor inspired me to write the 19 and 20s past life that happens in this book. Originally it was just going to be those two past lives, and my editor said no, there needs to be another, and you need to do it in the 1920s. So she kind of helped me do a lot of research into clothing, what was going on in the 1920s, and then just good movies to watch too to kind of get an idea of how characters would interact with one another.
So Summer, being that she obviously remembers these lives at some point, she is still college age though, but is her mind older or is she still young? Because Hades isn't young, or is he?
No, he's definitely not young. He looks young, and he actually appears to look different in each time. Um, I really didn't like the idea of keeping him the same, same old Greek god looking kind of guy. But
Mm-hmm.
Summer, yeah, she is young. She is immature in certain things, probably in a lot of things more than I'd like to admit. But she does have the emotional capacity to kind of understand what happened and what is happening around her. And I think that's probably what makes her so relatable, especially just for young adults. And when I say young adults, like 17, 18, and up, um, I think that some of her reactions to certain situations are pretty normal. It's exactly the way we would react to certain things.
Mm-hmm. So the Greek god is her love interest, right?
Yes.
How did you go about tackling that trope of, you have this really old man and this really young girl falling in love?
Um, so Darce, for me, he just he always loved her. There was never this moment of age as a factor. For him it was just, I love this person. I love this soul. I love her um universally. And for Summer, she was more in disbelief of who he was for a while. So she wasn't really buying into the, like, you're a Greek god, like what is that? Um
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was probably more of his charm and his wisdom and the way that he interacted with her that made it feel more natural than weird
Mm-hmm.
with the age. It wasn't really something that they focused on too much to say, like, I am 3,000 years old and I am only 20 years old. It was just more of, we both are in the same place at the same time, sharing the same experience. And eventually, when you get further into the story, it just kind of becomes like we are the same soul. So I don't know. It just was very natural for them to fall in love.
What do you like best about Summer's character?
I love her sarcasm. She was really great to write out some of my own, like, inner dialogue that happens in my mind. And with my editor, she helped Summer just have the best wit ever. She's a very funny girl.
I like an alpha female. Is she kind of alpha or is she something else?
Um, I guess you could say Summer is slightly alpha, but she also has some really vulnerable parts to her that make her maybe a little less alpha. She's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like a happy medium, at least to me. Um, just because Summer is such a, I don't want to say she's so me, because she's not me, but I find myself relating to her a lot. And obviously, as a writer, you write, you kind of put yourself in your characters. Um, but she's definitely more braver than I am. So slightly in the middle.
I'd love to know, did you choose the setting of Greece because kind of that's where the Greek god thing happens? Or did you choose it like for another reason?
I definitely chose Greece because of the Greek gods, and I felt like it was more natural to have Summer go to the homeland
Mm-hmm.
than have it, be in America or be in some other country that just didn't make sense.
Did you go to Greece to do research, like eventually? Like, I know you weren't in high school or college, but later?
I've never been to Greece before, but Google Maps is amazing. And I Googled so many hotels. I Googled so many just maps, putting the little yellow person in the roads, traveling the roads, looking at everything around. I mean, it's definitely not the same. It will never be the same. But I tried to fully immerse myself in everything Greek that I could, even researching food, what it would look like to sit next to a body of water, like what the surroundings are. Every little town or every little place that Summer and Darce end up going, I Google mapped it.
That sounds like it's going to be really immersive then, and we'll feel like we're in Greece. Because that's on my bucket list, so I might have to just read your book to go to Greece.
After doing all this, like, I would love to go to Greece and just say that I went to all the places that they were at. That would be amazing.
It sounds nice. So, are there other gods in the story as well, or is it just kind of Hades' story?
There are other gods. When you get to the underworld, you actually get to meet Morpheus, and he is the god of dreams. And he actually is probably one of my favorite characters that I've ever written ever. He's very dreamy, but he's also, like, no pun intended, but he's also just very stoic, um, friendly. Like, I know those two words don't really go together, but he's just his own person, his own little thing, and I really loved him. And I almost made him be like a love triangle for Summer, but then I felt like that was just going to be a little too overboard, so I withdrew from that.
Love triangles have their place, but honestly, sometimes I really like it when there's just two people that are just meant to be and they have their own trials to get together, but sometimes it's refreshing not to have that third party.
Right, right. Then there's also Thanatos. He is the god of death. There is Ari, and she's not necessarily a goddess, but she is like a nymph that delivers curses from the dead to the living, which, when I researched that's actually something, um, or that was actually a belief that the Greek people had, that
Mhm.
these spirits could bring curses from the dead to the living. I was like, that has to become a character. That's just too good. Um, and there's several others that you'll meet when you're down in the underworld.
Ooh, sounds good. Okay, so I love a good audiobook. I really do. Is Blinding Night coming out in audiobook?
I hope so. So currently, none of my books are audiobooks, unfortunately. But they are in the works, and it is my hope that Blinding Night will also be an audiobook, because I too would love to listen to that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I will cross my fingers that that happens because I just really advocate for audiobooks and they're awesome. And the best part is choosing the narrator. I know you'll love that part.
Yes, I definitely will love that part too. I love
Yeah.
listening to I mean, I love listening to audiobooks. I preferably that is my go-to. I commute every day about an hour one way, and if I can be listening to a book, if I can, then I'm doing it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing about Blinding Night. Is there anything else we need to know about that book before we talk about the next topic?
Yes, there is something to know about Blinding Night. It is the first book in the series. There will be more to come. So Summer and Darce's story will continue. It does end on a cliffhanger. For people who don't like cliffhangers, give it a chance. And please know that Blinding Night Part 2 will be coming soon.
Coming soon. Is that like 2019, 2020?
Probably probably 2020, but I'm gonna try to push myself to make it 2019.
Okay. Because you know how, us people that love series, it's painful to wait a long time. Don't do it to us.
I know. And where it ends, it's not very fair to have you guys wait too
Oh.
long.
Oh, no. Okay, well, everybody, you'll want to check out Blinding Night. The links are in the show notes. You can also check out the coordinating blog post to get even more details on that book. So, Chantel, what are you working on right now? I know your readers would love to know.
So I actually just finished the edits to Winterdream, and Winterdream is a new fairy tale retelling of the Nutcracker. And that's actually coming out November 27th, which is right around the corner.
Yay! And it's right on time for holiday reading.
Indeed, I know. And it's been very difficult to do edits in the middle of the summer and September when there's nothing Christmas related. So I've actually had to like stick a fake Christmas tree up on my wall and burning as many Christmas candles as I can just to stay in that holiday cheerful mood. It's interesting in the middle of the summer.
Oh my gosh, I cannot even imagine. So in your writing corner or wherever you write, it's like Christmas right there.
Yeah, it was. After I finished the edits, I kind of put everything away.
Mhm.
But now I'm kind of like, I feel so lost. Like I need that back again. So
Oh no.
it's different.
Well, Christmas does bring that cozy feeling that only Christmas can. So,
Exactly. Yep.
absolutely. So, I'd love to know what made you want to kind of do a book, kind of a play off the Nutcracker. How did you think that up?
So when I was little, my mom used to take me to see the Nutcracker at our local theater up until I was about 4 or 5. And then I wanted to join ballet, and I did that for like maybe 2 years, and then it just got to be way too expensive. But because of that part in my childhood, I've always just loved the Nutcracker, and I even at almost 30 years old, I still like to watch The Nutcracker Prince, which is an animated version of the story. I love to watch just the Nutcracker in general. So last Christmas, I sat there like, why haven't I written about this? I love the Nutcracker so much. Why have I not tried to rewrite the story? So I sat down and did that.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that kind of stuff too. Look, I am not ashamed. I watch all the cartoony stuff at Christmas. I do. I'm not even going to lie about it. And the Nutcracker is one of those as well. So, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I same. I can't do a Christmas without watching Rudolph or Frosty or really any of those things. It's just part of the tradition.
Yeah, especially like I don't think they're claymation, but they're like stop motion animation, I think. I
Yeah,
love those.
yeah, those are great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing that, you guys. There will be a link for Winterdream as well. I think will it be on pre-order by the time it will
Oh,
be on pre-order, I think, right now.
yep, it's actually up for pre-order right now.
Okay, awesome. So you can find a link in the show notes for that. And I think I will also have a teaser trailer for you in the coordinating blog post as well. So click over there and check out that and then order that book. Okay, so I have something fun for you, and I know you didn't do it last time you were here, and it's the lightning round. Are you game to do it?
I'm game for it.
Yes. So the lightning round is 60 seconds, and the goal is just to answer as many questions as you can. Some are book related, some are not.
Okay.
Some are open ended questions, and others require you to pick one or the other. The only rule is that you must choose. You can't say neither or both. It's kind of like a would you rather scenario.
Oh boy, the pressure's on.
Oh, I know. But they're so fun. You'll love it. Are you ready?
I'm super ready. Let's do it.
Okay. Physical books or ebooks?
Physical books.
Hero or villain?
Hero.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Bookstore or library?
Library.
Android or Apple?
Apple.
Vodka or gin?
Vodka.
If you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
To read people's minds.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Cliffhanger or realistic ending?
Cliffhanger.
Hot chocolate with or without marshmallows?
Oh, with the marshmallows.
Drive or fly?
Drive.
What's your favorite food?
Chinese food.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird now.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Name a book that you've read in one sitting.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm like, I don't even know. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell.
Oh, awesome. And guess what? That's time. So, hey,
Yay.
you did great. You answered 16 questions.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah,
Everyone loves it.
that was fun.
Yay. All right. So I think that brings us to the end of today's show. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Chantel, before we sign off for the evening?
Just to thank you so much for having me on your show again. It was so much fun. And if anyone's curious to look into more of my books, you can find them on my website, which is www.chantalgadoury.com. And I'm sure you'll have that in your links there, but I encourage you to go check it out. I have a ton of other books that you can read and enjoy.
Yes, indeed, you guys. All of her social media links are below in the show notes, so you can click those and find her really easy. So thank you, Chantal. It's been a pleasure as always, and maybe we'll talk to you again soon.
I hope so. That would be wonderful.
All right, everyone. Until next time, happy reading. Take care, guys. If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.